Hey there, and welcome to another installment of Hearts of Iron 4 with the Carnage group. This is Chapter 3, the Picardy Line. Just to bring you up to speed, a quick recap. As you have seen, my whole campaign is punished by the fact that I've lost 4 out of 6 panzers, making things very slow in Belgium and France. And now I'm facing a wall of dug-in troops, forts, rivers, and even naval bombardment. This is the Picardy Line. These very bloody delays have also disrupted my production plans. The first months, my build-up gave me superiority in the sky, allies taking a massive 3-to-1 ratio in fighter losses. Now, however, that balance have shifted, and not in my favor. Part of Germany's problem is a lack of rubber. Germany is building planes, mostly fighters, for all the rubber they can get. They've been doing a lot of research, focuses and civilian construction of synthetic refinery to boost the production of rubber, but it is not enough. As this offensive has stalled, the balance of air power is even more important. Or what would you have done, dear viewers, to make sure Germany can maintain air dominance? Feel free to comment after the clip. The first attempt by the Wehrmacht to break through the Picardy Line was in the Champagne area. Since the Germans managed to take the easternmost part of the Picardy Line, they could attack into unfortified hills. Although hills are tough for panzers to attack in, it was judged by the High Command to be better than forts. But there was a problem. They were stretching the supply lines too far, and although the battle started out advantageous, the Germans got supply shortages and had to abort. So what's next? The Führer expects a breakthrough. The choice of breakthrough areas fell on Amiens and the forests of Picardy, with a feint attack in the Champagne area. After softening them up for weeks of bloody battles, a breakthrough attempt was done in Picardy. And in Picardy, the British defenders were starting to wear down in the freezing cold. Armor around Lille were preparing for a breakthrough attempt in Amiens, when the British defenders were deemed to be wear down enough. Let's have a look on the armor in Lille, because the armor in Lille is starting to get the new Panzer IVs, Panzerkampfwagen 4, into the division. And this is without doubt the strongest armor on the board right now. I haven't seen any medium armors at all on the Allied side. If we look at the fighter situation, which we have been tracking quite closely during this sessions, you see that for actually the first time, I think, the German losses are higher. So the numbers of losses are spiraling away, and the Allied production is obviously higher than anything that the Germans can match. As Italy is investing in the Regia Marina and powerful battleships, there won't be any support from the Regia Aeronautica. Sadly, because I would have needed that. I'm building quite a few of the Type 7 U-boats with a focus on torpedoes. Initially I had smaller wolf packs, but now I have been increasing them to 8 because there are quite bountiful of targets. There are these huge stacks of British convoys without escorts, and even though 5 U-boats will kill a lot of them, 8 or even more U-boats will kill more. However, there are other convoy routes here as well, so I want to have a couple of groups to be sure to capture them all. But you can do that differently. You could have fewer wolf packs with a higher number, or you could have more, depending on how much convoys are going through here. I'm happy for any thoughts you have on that, whatever tactic you would choose in this. In the forest of Picardy, German infantry, supported by lumbering heavy tanks, were pushing hard through the frozen forest into the ragged British lines. Lines that in some cases had great difficulties penetrating the thick armor plating. This was exactly the situation the German High Command was aiming for. The battles of the Picardy Line is in full swing. Shifting between broad and narrow frontage have caused a situation with lots of tired defenders. Can the panzers break through? In Amiens, the perfect situation is at hand. This is a chance to push across the rivers and frozen wetlands. The Germans were close in breaking through, although sudden reinforcements among the defenders made it difficult. Alas, the Brits managed to reinforce both battles, forcing the Germans to eventually break off both attacks and pull back to rest and reinforce. This proves how utterly difficult it is to attack a fortified position such as the Picardy Line, especially without proper air superiority. In the Mediterranean Sea, the Regia Marina sailed out in force and attacked smaller elements of the Allied fleets. The Italian convoys to supply their African territories were constantly under attack, and Allied task forces with mainly light cruisers and destroyers were constantly on patrol. Now, however, these patrols got to meet the terror of the Regia Marina and had to pay the ultimate price. Out in the Atlantic Ocean, in the western approaches, several German wolf packs were causing terror and a high ratio of losses of British tonnage. The Brits, however, had realized the need to protect these very intensely used convoy routes and had started to deploy escorts. Although these escorts had difficulties in finding their target, the U-boat captains had to be more careful, and the hunting was not without danger or casualties. It is the 16th of February 1940. The worst of the winter cold is gone, and now the Wehrmacht is preparing what may be the last real chance to break through the Picardy Line. The air superiority is lost, and that balance is shifting into Allied favor. The Allies doesn't seem to use their own bombers, but the lack of German bombers to support any offensive is bad enough. This time, the German High Command will rely on thorough planning to get as much help by cunning tactical trickery as possible. The attacks will fall upon Amiens and Reims. This is it. I'm rolling because now I want to try this attack on Amiens. And I mean, they have like 800 in defense and stuff, so this will be a grinding battle. Yeah, thank you, Japan, for the rifles. They are sorely needed, and they will be needed even more when these battles are rolling. And I have another battle here. I will start that in a while. So these will be the two places that I will try to get through the Picardy Line. And also I have these armor divisions ready to try and break through when the situation is right. Also, right now you see that I have no planes in the air. I will wait a while with that. And also you see that they have naval bombardment, shore bombardment 12%. So in a while I will risk the Kriegsmarine to try to give myself a little bit of a bonus. But I will wait until these armor will punch through. We'll see how that goes. We had some fights in the Mediterranean. The Regia Marina was fighting and got their nose quite bloody. That was unfortunate because the Regia Marina is something that we really need. Anyway, you see that the Il Duce was actually doing some good stuff as well, taking Bizerte finally. So North Africa seems quite nice. However, in Africa, further south, things are looking grim. But at least the Brits are having to bleed a lot to take Addis Ababa. But yeah, not yet, but eventually, of course, Addis will fall. So with the Italians losing quite a lot of their Regia Marina, the attacks that we were hoping for is not going so well down here. So it will be up to...
I didn't lose capitals, but a lot of screens.
A lot of screens.
It will avoid me to do something with. Because they have big fleets and I don't have the numbers to do that, because if I engage again I will lose all. So
yeah, but at least now you're killing a few French screens.
Yeah.
In the Battle of Cagliari. We have to celebrate the small victories.
Yeah.
This is just a quick glance back to the major naval encounter that we were referring to in the last clip. The capital ships were closely matched on both sides, but the Royal Navy had both planes and a superiority in the number of screens. As the Italian big guns pulled back, the Regia Marina lost quite a few of the screens. A desperate move. If the Picardy Line is not breached, maybe the Alps can be. However, with Allied support, Switzerland will be a hard nut to crack. Moving back to the Picardy Line and the battle for Amiens. Rivers, forts and shore bombardment makes for a very difficult environment for the attacker. But as you can see, von Manstein has made a good battle plan, giving the troops a shimmer of hope. Still, without air support, things will be very, very hard. Alright, so I've been doing these grinding attacks. They are very grim, very bloody. But you see now, my first radar station are up in Lille, giving me some more cover. So all the planes that have been on the ground will now get started again.
Do you need more planes in the north? I can send you some fighters.
Yes, please.
Which base?
You can send them to Karlsruhe, I guess.
Yeah, but I don't think I have the range in Karlsruhe.
No, well, go to Luxembourg then. Germany and Italy is throwing all available fighters into the airspace of northern France. They got the numbers slightly on their side, and with the new radars up, they certainly had superior knowledge about who was doing what. Nevertheless, the Brits now have 700 of the Spitfire 1A, a number only growing in the face of all the air battles. It seemed by now also the French had a superior model in production. This is not a fight the Axis can keep up for too long, but right now there's still a chance. Well, thank you, Hungary. It's much appreciated. Although it's not top equipment, it's enough to keep the Wehrmacht supplied during the intense push against the Picardy Line. It's the 24th of March. It's actually exactly 1 month into the second attack on Amiens. That's what it takes to grind down the defender properly to be able to initiate the breakthrough attack. The German bombers are now on the prowl, although enemy anti-air is lethal. And now it's time for Panzers and the Kriegsmarine to enter the stage. Elite Panzers are now fearlessly pushing across the wetlands into the area where the Brits are almost wrecked and terrified in the face of the armor onslaught. The Kriegsmarine is in the English Channel, pouring heavy artillery onto the defenders. Luftwaffe is in the air with everything they got. The Brits are in terror, buckling. This is it. This is do or die. Let's end today's installment with this cliffhanger. I have seen that many multiplayer groups have banned building high-level forts. What do you think? it's definitely very difficult to push through. But in this case, France did get plenty of time to build them. Please drop a comment, and also I'm also open for constructive comments on my strategy to push through the Picardy Line. And a reminder, if you have any comments on the number of U-boats in the wolf packs, feel free to share your thoughts. Or if this was enjoyable or even enlightening, please give it a thumbs up, and please follow to get the next installment called Do or Die. Captain Easy, over and out.